Everyone seems to spend so much time complaining about the issues of the world, but no one seems to be able to come up with an actual solution. Why is this? Why is it that no one can come up with a solution? Well, maybe the world is set up the way it's wanted to, but people can actually come up with a solution. So the world will never fix itself because the people with the power have the world set up the way they like it. The world set up this way that they're the ones who make the decisions. They can simply just tell us what to do, and we comply. And if they present an idea that they like, that we don't like, we go, and they go, we have to come up with a new way to present this so that you will like this idea. This idea will seem attractive to you. You know, they countless times they come up with this idea, and we go, and then they come back with the same idea, presented in a different way, and we go, and then it gets pushed away, new thing comes in, they come back with this idea again, and then we go, I've heard that somewhere before. You know, I sort of like this idea last time. You know, why don't we actually do this now? You know, they telling me it'll be better for everyone. And without realizing, we've agreed to this idea that initially we've thought, no way, that's stupid, to bring it in small steps. You know? And the media had spent so much time on celebrities and sports that it takes away from the real issues of the world, and it's gotten to a point where we don't even care what the real issues are. We care what Charlie Sheen's up to. We care what Justin Bieber's doing. We care what, you know, we're all in this craze where, yeah, them, let's hear about them. But what about the wars that are going on? What about the political scandals? What about the way that all this stuff, you know? What about how we simply just lay down and we'll take this abuse because it's the way it's always been. It's always been these, you know, select people. But now we got this voice, we got this internet thing where it's easier to get our opinion out. It's easier for us to actually speak out and talk. You know? We still continue to be these small-minded people. Like, media, yeah, what we see there is good. That's the way it really is. And then we should realize how biased all of this information always is. How much is presented from the perspective they want us to see it from over and over and over and over again. And to the point that the perspective they want us to see it from is the perspective we want to see it from. Why do we want to see this the way we do? I guarantee if you grew up in a communist country, you might like the concept of communism a lot more. Just my perspective on it. Democracy is this great thing, and don't forget, get me wrong, I think democracy is great. I think where the people have the power to change things, where people have the power to vote in who's in power, where the people, you know, somewhat control things, I think it's good. But that could just be because that's my perspective, because I've grown up in such a nation. You know? We all just unite ourselves with what we've been brought up with. We familiarize ourselves with the things that we've seen and know feel safe around. That's where we stick ourselves. Is in these groups that we feel safe. We take these things that we might have one point not liked. We might have had a bad run-in with someone who grew up in this certain area, and all of a sudden all of that area is bad. It's all filled with bad people. Because our perspective is they're bad people. They're bad, bad. Because I met that one bad person from that area, so they're all probably like that because that's how they grew up. That to me appears ignorant. There's not really bad people, there's desperate people. People from different circumstances who have been taught how to do things differently. And we go about it and think they're bad people. They're just terrible. And they'll say something and we go, how dare you say something like that? That's how they've been brought up. And you can't just go, how they've been brought up is acceptable, we just gotta accept it. But, I just think there's deeper ways of looking at stuff than we look at it. I think there's deeper ways of looking at stuff than we look at it. And I think too often people just simply look at something in this simplistic way because they have other things to deal with. Other problems. Bigger problems. They got problems with this one other individual. They got this problem with the fact that they're going to they're having a hard time at work and blah 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 blah. But if they actually looked at this bigger picture and realized that this bigger picture would fix these smaller problems, I think they might look at it more. But again, what's one man's voice? What's one person's voice? I guess you could just ask yourself that. Do you see yourself as a small, little, insignificant voice? Or do you want to be seen as a voice? A loud voice, a shouting voice, a voice of a group. A voice that screams out and screams out in strength because of the numbers of the people who scream out and say, we need more, we need better. We need better than we've demanded before. We need to demand the best. We need the best. We deserve the best. Because only with the best we can improve and become better. I thank you for listening to this if you did.